Wow, Avengers Endgame crushed the box office, made over $350 million fucking dollars. I think 357 million is the official number now. That's just domestically, over 1.2 billion worldwide. Crazy. But I see a lot of people like, how the fuck did that happen? We did the math. We did the math and it didn't add up. Well, I'm Jeremy, former projectionist of a movie theater, and I'm here to tell you exactly how the fuck it happened. See, I saw YouTube videos and articles talking about how Avengers Endgame could not pass $300 million because it was just mathematically impossible, because it was booked on this many screens and it was over 3 hours long, so there weren't enough showtimes in a weekend to do it. But yeah, there fucking were, because they're not taking very important things into account. See, we live in a world of digital cinema where the supply is simply limited by the demand. If there's the demand, movie theaters can accommodate it. And what I'm talking about is Avengers Endgame played on more screens than it was booked for. All the movie math, all the math that people were doing were the initial bookings, I believe. Not taking into account the fact that those auditoriums would sell out on opening weekend. Movie theaters would be like, how many people are coming for us? 2? We're canceling us and we're selling out another auditorium of Avengers Endgame. Instead of showing it on 4 screens, we're now showing it on 5. We may have 3 people pissed off that can't watch us. We'll also sell out another auditorium of Avengers Endgame. We'll be fine. If you want to show Avengers Endgame in another auditorium, you just have it loaded onto that auditorium's hard drive. Done. And I promise you, by the end of Wednesday going into Thursday, every movie theater showing Avengers Endgame had Avengers Endgame loaded onto the hard drive of every auditorium they had. Canceling other movies, canceling other showings to show another showing of Avengers Endgame. It was impossible to quantify what it was going to make because that variable wasn't taken into account. And that's a pretty huge fucking variable. That could effectively double the numbers of Avengers Endgame. I mean, granted, other movies were shown. Obviously, they made money. But also showings were cut from other movies. I promise you that. There are some movies that are contractually obligated. It's like, no, you need to show this movie in your auditoriums. You can't cancel a showing for like 2 weeks or something like that. I think Star Wars movies is usually a couple months. So they can't always do that to every movie, but they can do it to a lot. Or a movie theater might do a round robin kind of tactic, rather split up the showings of Avengers Endgame into multiple auditoriums. So the movies that were initially showing in those auditoriums, they still had showings throughout the day. Like if you have Auditorium 1, 2, and 3, Auditorium 1 showing movie A, Auditorium 2 showing movie B, Auditorium 3 showing Avengers Endgame. Rather than wiping out every showing of movie A in Auditorium 1 for Avengers Endgame, wipe out half the showings of movie A in Auditorium 1 and half the showings of movie B in Auditorium 2 and split Avengers Endgame among those auditoriums. So movie A still makes revenue, movie B still makes revenue, Avengers Endgame has 2 more showings. Point is, movie theaters aren't locked into showing Avengers Endgame in the auditoriums they're initially booked and scheduled for. I know, this doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen, because it can't happen. It's not supposed to happen, so it doesn't happen. You're right. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like M80s being sold at fireworks stands. Doesn't happen. People selling their food stamps for cash. Doesn't happen. But it totally, positively, absolutely does happen. Simply put, Avengers Endgame was just a bigger movie. This was an event. Everyone who saw Avengers Infinity War had to watch Avengers Endgame. If you leave the audience wanting more, you leave them with the feeling that they need to see how it concludes, you're not really going to see those diminishing returns. Unless your movie sucks. Then you might. And that's how you gauge it. Like I've said, in a world of supply and demand, the supply is only limited by the demand. And the auditoriums that a movie theater can do that for. What's the demand? How much do fans love Avengers? How much do they love Infinity War? How much do they want to watch Endgame? What are the odds they'll see it opening weekend so it doesn't get spoiled for them opening weekend on social media? Odds are probably pretty good. What's the love for the property? And what are the screens that it could possibly play on in a movie theater, not screens it's booked for initially? Simply bringing this up because this is a variable in the great online discussion of how the fuck did that happen? So anytime you're out there trying to guess box office numbers and you see how many screens it's playing on, do keep this in mind. Anyhow, that's my hot take on it. I wanted to talk about this angle of it because I haven't seen anyone really address that angle of it. All right, so Avengers Endgame making over $350 million opening weekend, 1.2 billion worldwide. What do you think about that? Whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.